New Hampshire's State Senate District 2 covers southern Grafton County and a trio of towns in Merrimack County. Outside of Plymouth, it's rural and arguably one of the more scenic of the 24 Senate districts. But for the next 6 weeks, it is a political battleground, and the two major party candidates running for the seat join us this morning. Incumbent Senator Bob Guida, a Republican from Warren, and Bill Bolton, a Democrat running for the seat from Plymouth. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Adam.
Let's just have you introduce yourselves to the rest of the state, starting with you, Senator Guida.
Senator Bob Guida. I live in the town of Warren, small rural town. I've served as a state legislator for 3 terms. I serve as a town moderator. I am a Republican because I believe that the policies we're enacting are doing the right thing for the state, and that seems to be evidenced by the economic results, by the very low jobs rate, unemployment rate, I should say, and the fact that our economy is just buzzing. We've done the right stuff at the right time in the right way. We've reduced taxes. We're spending more money on things that are critically important that came to us in the campaign last time. That would be substance abuse, the opioid crisis, mental health issues, all things that play into the well-being of our state. That makes us essentially in the top 2 or 3 states in every category for livability, safety, and environment.
Okay, thank you, Senator. And Bill Bolton, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running.
All right, thank you, Adam. I'm a 30-year state employee. I retired 8 years ago. I was in public health for years. I ended up as the director of the Division of Vital Records Administration. And I then became an at-home IT implementation manager. And I also had the opportunity to get into our municipality. I'm currently the chair of the select board. And my wife Denise and I have raised four kids in Plymouth. They all went through the Plymouth public school system. And I believe that those experiences, my commitment to my community, have made me prepared for 3 things that I want to see go forward. Public education. I want to focus on that, make sure that public education is protected without the need to invest money into private religious schools. I also want to focus on Medicaid expansion again, to make sure that Medicaid expansion is continued. And also, I want to roll out broadband and cellular phone service to those underserved areas of the state. I believe I have some strengths in all those areas, and I'd like to continue that, and I think I'm the best person for this position. All
right, let's jump into some of the issues, starting with you, Senator Guida. In your district, Plymouth State is right there, about 4,000 students, about half of them from out of state. Should those students be able to vote freely in our elections here?
They are able to vote freely in our elections, providing they meet the same restrictions and qualifications as any other citizen of the state. The laws that we've passed have, in fact, if you talk to Secretary of State Gardner, we have amongst the highest participation rates in all age categories, including students. Our laws are meant to protect the rights of those who legitimately vote in the state from being purloined by those who don't really live here but want to vote up here anyway.
Mr. Bolton, what are your thoughts on this?
I feel that the bill that is now going to be coming into effect on 2019 causes confusion for on-campus students. When I was a Plymouth State College, attendee, I ended up I voted in Plymouth. I also, started my life here as well. So I feel that when you become a student, you become immersed in the community, and you shouldn't be disenfranchised by the confusion that was caused by those bills for those education restrictions.
Any chance you want to respond to anything there,
Sure,
Senator?
Those bills didn't cause confusion. They eliminated confusion by making very clear the requirements that are necessary to vote as a resident of the state of New Hampshire, clearing up language that was confusing, and the Republicans did that and pushed the bill through that, in fact, has enhanced the right to vote and clarified those things that Mr. Bolton claims are discrepancies.
So I disagree, and I believe that there is confusion on campus. This has been reported. I'm aware of that. There's also a requirement for to be able to get a driver's license and register your car as well. And unfortunately, there is no nearby DMV. So actually, Colin Van Ostern made that a requirement or a desire to put like a temporary DMV in those locations near schools so they can comply with the law. But regardless, there still is some confusion.
Let's take a look at the economy. Mr. Bolton, the economy is doing fairly well here in New Hampshire. The state has a budget surplus. Would you vote to repeal the business tax cuts that were implemented over the last few years?
Thank you for mentioning that. Actually, I would. I think the business profits tax and business enterprise taxes, they both benefit out-of-state businesses. It's unfortunate that most of that money is not kept in state. It's going to companies like Amazon and Walmart. I think there is a need to revisit that legislation to be able to focus those taxes into New Hampshire so that it would be able to make up for the high property taxes that New Hampshire citizens face. And Plymouth is, I'm currently the chair of the select board there. Plymouth is a very good example of how property taxes are forcing people out of their homes.
Senator Guy, to your perspective.
Well, my perspective is remarkably different. As the Vice Chairman of Ways and Means Committee and serving on Senate Finance, those business profits and business enterprise taxes have caused an explosion in revenues to the state when coupled with the federal tax reform that took place. In the last year, last fiscal year, we were $100 million over projections on what we had projected the revenues to the state to be. We used that $100 million for very good things to return services and monies to the towns, such as doubling the highway block grants, such as returning funds for mental health, funds for schooling, and so forth to the towns. Those are property tax direct relief issues. With respect to out-of-state companies benefiting from our our business enterprise and business profits tax, I see the exact opposite. $100 million came from out-of-state companies who have business presences in New Hampshire. And in fact, the repatriation of foreign monies brought us this windfall, which we used very effectively for highways, for bridges, for mental health, and so forth.
Anything you want to rebut there, Mr. Bolton?
Yeah, for the fact that as Select Board Chair Plymouth, we did not realize any funds from state funds. In fact, our property taxes went up $4 per thousand last year. That's not because we're extravagant with our monies. We actually are very frugal. We haven't had an increase in our budget for 5 years. So it's rather unfortunate that we're facing higher and higher property taxes in the face of bills that benefited companies that they didn't even ask for that. So.
Senator?
Well, property taxes are derived from homes and properties. Businesses that profit return those monies generally to the economy, to the towns, in their businesses, investing in employees and raises. Jobs are the basis of prosperity, and companies are the basis of jobs. Okay? Government programs are a fix for people that are in tough spots, but the best way to improve the quality of life, to lower taxes, is basically to increase the incomes for people in the state. And we've done that remarkably. We're up just announced 2%. The gross, the net worth of New Hampshire individuals just this morning was announced is up 2.5% year over year. That bodes well for our people. The local property tax issue is a local issue. I live in a town that's very poor. We're very frugal. Our taxes have not gone up $4 a thousand. Our taxes have been held steady because we're frugal as select board and as school board members. We take care of our own.
Next question to you, Senator Guy. To education savings accounts. This was a big debate in Concord over the last couple of years. Why is it good public policy, in your opinion, to provide public dollars to private schools?
The traditional model for education, Adam, doesn't work for some students. Those students have been, if you will, disenfranchised over the years. What we've done is to create a panoply of alternatives, charter schools, private schools, because the interest that we have as Republicans is not in protecting the institution of education. Our interest is in developing a product, the student that comes out equipped to deal with the issues that he or she will face and to prosper and to perform their duties as good citizens. When the system doesn't work for a child, alternatives are necessary. Charter schools are working very well. They are now a part of the arsenal, if you will, of tools that we have in our education system, so that we give every child the opportunity to learn, and we make sure that the product that we put out is a child that is educated.
Mr. Bolton, you said this is a key part of your campaign.
It is, yeah. And I will not use public monies for private or religious schools. And charter schools can exist, but not at the detriment of funding public schools. In fact, this is what I hear. I've knocked on doors in many states, not quite 27, but nearabouts, and that's a common message that I hear, is that public schools are very much of a concern of a local, in all our towns. I mean, that They want to be able to be, fund public schools. As I indicated before, our public school system in Plymouth is actually enrollment is down, costs are the same. If money from that school system is siphoned off for charter schools, then that school will be vulnerable. So I want to be able to maintain public schools.
Let's try to get to one more issue here. Mr. Bolton, Democrats are probably going to have a fairly robust gun control agenda in the Senate, whether they have the majority or not. What restrictions on gun rights, which would infringe upon the constitutionally guaranteed freedoms of the Second Amendment, do you believe are acceptable?
My target, well, this is probably like a bad choice of words, my target for gun control is essentially making certain that background checks are actually covered for all purchases of guns, be it a private sale or in a gun show. I'm not looking to infringe upon the Second Amendment. I believe U.S. citizens have the right to keep and bear arms. So that's the extent that I was going to look at.
And
Senator Gaida, it's likely Republicans will be on defense on this issue, no matter who has the control and majority of the Senate.
Right. I would point to the success of our state of New Hampshire. I would point to the fact that the cities and communities with the most draconian gun regulations have the absolutely highest murder rates and violent crime rates in the nation. That would be Chicago, it would be Detroit, it would be Los Angeles. Those cities that have the most stringent requirements, they have no bearing on outcomes, and that's what we're focused on, is outcomes. So I protect the Second Amendment strongly, and my voting record shows that in every vote. I protect the right of a citizen to keep and bear arms.
Okay, oversimplification here, but really quickly, should New Hampshire, yes or no, legalize recreational marijuana?
No.
And
yes.
All right. It'll be a lot of fun to see these debates unfold over the next few weeks, but gentlemen, thank you for being here today and sharing some of your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Adam.